You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Revolution After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Revolution After Show.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Revolution, born in the USA. Bing is for doing, and I am your host, Megan Thomas, back again for Season 2, and guess who else I have with me?
I'm your host, Larice Peoples.
Larice Peoples. Nice to see you again, Larice.
Yes, ma'am. Good to be back for another Season 2 for Revolutions.
Man, I am so excited about this season because it's started off with a bang, I will say.
I must say this episode, it kind of led into a real great season, picking up from where it happened with the bomb from last season and the nukes going off with the powers coming on, and everybody kind of questioning like what happened with the power, even though it only came on for a short span of time. But
let's talk about that before you go into it. So let's do a quick recap. So last season we ended with the lights actually being turned back on.
Yes.
Aaron was able to press execute, and the lights got turned back on, and we noticed that, unfortunately, that's what Randall was waiting for, played by Calm Fury. He wanted to turn the lights on. That was his orders, basically. He needed the lights to be on so he could fire the nukes.
Yes.
Towards Atlanta and Philly. So now, and it ended just like that. We didn't know what happened. So we find out that this season that the bombs did drop. The atomic bombs blew Atlanta and Philly to shreds. And also that there's a lot of stuff going on with different people in different places.
It is a lot going on.
So lights were turned on for 4 minutes, and we find this out from Charlie, who is kind of acting out a bit.
I think, really, she's just kind of on a mission right now, and she's just doing whatever feels comfortable and right to her until she actually go about her mission, right? She has one goal, and her goal is basically to find Monroe.
Right, she's on a hunt to kill him for obviously for the stuff that he's done to her and her family and all of the drama that he's caused for them. But we see that she's in the Plains Nation and she's with a bartender. She's getting it in. This is not the Charlie that we know.
Yeah, she's become such a grown woman now. And literally, I think she's just kind of having fun because literally, I think she's kind of taking life into the fact of I never know when's gonna be my last day, so I'm always live it up as much as possible. And she just kind of had a fling with the guy.
Right, and we see that she's uncomfortable with talking about what happened. He's talking about how the lights came on for 4 minutes, he was asleep, and she's like, I don't even want to talk about it. So there's some issue with that, and we find out later on what happens, but we'll stick with Charlie for a second and talk about what she does. So she finds out that there's been a sighting of General Monroe.
Yes.
And so she heads to New Vegas.
Kind of weirdly stated, like New Vegas, but at the same time, it's kind of remind you of typical Vegas. What Vegas could have possibly been like back in that time when they was basically building in Vegas, the entertainment with the women, just kind of the fights, just drunkenness, and people just having fun. And you kind of like, okay, I can kind of see where the New Vegas kind of brings about.
Right. If Vegas wasn't like a city of lights as it is right now, we see what it's like. There's still the prostitution. You see the women walking around. You see that there is still gambling. There's still magicians and magic shows. And then, of course, there's still the boxing / MMA fighting.
Yes.
Where we find General Monroe, who looks amazing, by the way. I know you probably don't care, but I am just floored by the body.
Okay.
And he definitely is a good fighter. We see that he wins a fight, and we find out that he fights every night pretty much. And he's kind of lost his zest for life because as he's gambling and he loses all the diamonds, the woman's like, oh my gosh, you lost. And he's just like, If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all.
Exactly. I mean, I kind of see his point of view because overall, like what he's living for right now, he don't have anything. He don't have Miles as a brother. He don't have the Monroe Republic anymore. So now he just kind of feel like my life I have no purpose for life. So I'm just kind of going through life, going through the motions until someone give me purpose again. And I mean, the whole fighting thing, it gives him purpose because he's able to beat everybody. He's a great fighter. No one really knows who he once was before. So
right, Jimmy King, as his new name is.
I know, right? It's kind of weird, random, but at the same time, he just kind of lives life like, okay, every day I'm here, I'm just enjoying life. I fight every single night just because I have the ability to fight, but also I have no purpose in life, and you can tell by his demeanor.
Well, I think okay, and what I took it as the fighting portion was he doesn't care. He at this point he's just so reckless. He doesn't care if he dies. I didn't take it so much as I'm just gonna beat everybody. Might as well. I take it like, look, I might win tonight, which I have all the other nights, or I might lose. I don't really care.
Yeah.
At this point, and I just see that he's reckless. So of course, we have Charlie spending her last dime.
Yeah.
To her last diamond, I should say.
Exactly.
I don't know where she got those diamonds, by the way.
Everybody's diamond rich over there now.
Right. Goodness gracious. She's blinged out. So she gives the bookie the diamonds to, get a meeting with Jimmy King.
Yeah, the new Monroe.
Yeah, the new Monroe. And she definitely is going to kill him. She's got the crossbow. And as she's shooting a group of guys, because we noticed that a guy was following them, following Bass around the casino area. Yeah. And so these guys beat him up, put him in a wagon, and take off with him.
I kind of thought when I saw the guy inside the tent when Monroe was actually gambling, I was like, something's gonna happen. I thought it was because of the girl, jealousy because it maybe, hey, that's my girl, and she's a prostitute now, and I don't want you kind of taking my girl. And he probably just follow every guy to beat him up every single night. But I did not think that they was gonna basically capture him and take him away.
What do you think they want with him?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I don't know. I think it might be twofold. One thing that I think it might be that they want him because they too suspect that he was behind the bombing of Philly and Atlanta, and maybe they had loved ones there.
Yeah. That
could be it. Or on the flip side, they could be part of the new America, and because we know the people, the new America, we know that they know the truth of what really happened.
Yeah.
So I think they want to get him and then probably tell the American people, look, we got this terrorist for you guys. So that might be part of it too.
I mean, since you said it like that, I just think it also could be that they know who he is and who he once was before. Right. And they just want to capture him, maybe have leverage.
Perhaps, yeah. That's a good idea. That might be the case. So then we see Major Neville and Jason have made it all the way back across the country to Savannah, Georgia, to the Savannah refugee camp. As we know, of course, Atlanta got bombed. And that's where Major Neville's wife was, because he was part of, Georgia Federation at the time.
Yes. When
he and Jason went out west. And so that's where his wife stayed. And we do see in the last season, the very last episode, that she, when the lights got turned back on, she was actually reading. Yeah. So, the fan turns on, her lights turn on in the house. So she was at a home setting when the bombing happened.
What do you think happened? Think she died?
I don't know, because when the lights came on, they said the lights came on for only 4 minutes, which means she would have only had 4 minutes to go somewhere. She couldn't have left Atlanta.
But yeah, exactly. I mean, that just kind of goes back to the sergeant, that was basically getting doctored up at Rachel's father's house, where he's like, I was 30 miles outside of Atlanta, and and the blast still affected me. So I think she's probably dead.
She probably is. I don't know if she survived that. That's going to be a good story.
If she survived, she's like a cockroach.
Unless she went somewhere else. But, I mean, as Major Neville says, he's like, she would have waited for me. There's no way she would have left. So I think he's probably right, and I think she is dead. And we see that there's a lot of grief.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe he's getting ready to kill himself with this very nice, shiny gun, by the way. Very nice gun.
Yeah, the thing about the gun thing is, I like the way they double cocked it in the scene where he's sitting there, where he kind of pulls the hammer back on the 9mm Beretta, but also when he tries to go shoot himself, he cocks the gun on top of the gun, and it doesn't work like that.
What do you mean? So hold on, wait a minute. So he cocked it
with the hammer, with the 9mm Beretta, it has a hammer on the back of the gun, so he pulls the hammer back, which already cocks the gun. But then also when he goes to put the gun up towards him, he cocks it again with his hand.
Well, maybe he's so, in his grief, and then of course Jason comes to. And
it was the sound effect. It was bad. It was bad on the editing. The sound
there
effect.
We go. Okay,
That's what it was. It was a bad sound effect. They double cocked the gun. Come on.
There you go. Yeah, sorry, production. We caught you on this one. You shouldn't double cock the gun. But yeah. So we see that Jason comes in on the nick of time, and he really gives his dad a pep talk. Which I think the tables have kind of turned a little bit because, I feel like his dad, Major Neville was always the one who had these words of wisdom, whether they were truly wisdom or not, for his son, and always telling his son to straighten up and man up. And now it's Jason telling his dad, like, no, you can't check out. You have to stay here and do this.
But it's the love of a woman, though. When Jason was basically following Charlie, Jason did everything possible to protect Charlie and want to be there with Charlie. And when Charlie wasn't there, it's like he kind of was in his slump. And now the roles has reversed to where Major Neville, he's that guy. He's that Jason, what Jason were in the last season. And now it's like, well, my wife is gone. I don't know where she's at. She would never leave me. What do? I want to kill myself and don't want to live. Even though Jason didn't take it to that point, but now Jason's at the point now, like, Dad, snap out of it. We haven't found the heir, but it's still a possibility we'll be able to find her. But at the same time, we have to live through this because I'm still here for you.
Right. And I think I'm glad they're still together because for a moment there, I really thought that they would not stick together because if you remember at the end of last season, Jason told his father that he would help him, open the doors of the tower and get in there if he promised not to hurt Charlie or her mother. But then we see that he is like, when they're trying to blow the door down for the actual control room on level 12, we see that Major Neville gives the order, kill them,
don't care.
Kill them, and he looks at his son and he says, you have a problem with that? So now we see like, okay, that that wasn't too much of an issue, and now they're together and they got a good bond. I think I'm excited to see what happens with them.
It's gonna be but also you have to look at as the first episode kind of goes on to season 2 with Major Neville, when the big U.S. ship comes and he just kind of describes his position on this new world reform and everything. Again, he's still plotting and planning to basically to have his place within the military, within the government, because he really knows what happened.
Right.
His thing is that, okay, they're pretty much behind everything that happened. I'm pretty sure Randall worked for them, and that's the reason why the nuclear weapons went off, and my wife is probably gone because of them. So he's kind of playing the devil's advocate to where, like, okay, I'm going to play the role until I find out the truth, and then, he's probably assassinate the president or something.
That'll be very interesting. So, and as you're talking about that, we see one of my favorite actresses, Nicole Ari Parker, who is Secretary Justine Allenford. I couldn't quite get her name, but she comes as, kind of the PR person to say that America is a nation again.
Exactly.
We are here, and we have, like, basically undeniable proof that Sebastian Monroe was behind the attack to bomb, this terroristic attack.
Exactly. To
bomb these two areas. And it's funny that they even knew that, considering, as Major Neville says, there's only 6 people who knew about this, who knows it really happened.
Yeah.
So he's putting the pieces together, and he does have the pieces together pretty much correct. He does say that Randall was working with them some way, some fashion. He does say that there's no way that they have proof that Sebastian Monroe was the one who did this.
Yes.
So something's up.
I mean, I guess the biggest thing that's up is that when you kind of look at, they have to blame somebody just so that people can part sides on who should they go with and who they shouldn't go with. And really right now, everybody they're just trying to survive at the moment. And I think with them kind of coming in and saying, oh, yeah, Sebastian Monroe did this, it's like, okay, well, now we have somebody to blame. Now let me be your savior and help you get back to civilization and make everything great for you. All we want for you is to fight with us and be part of our nation, and let's help take back our United States.
And it's isn't that kind of weird how it's almost like how our nation runs, now that's government. Literally, There's a lot of times we'll see stuff that happens, terroristic threats, just things that go on in the U.S. Just recently, there was the shooting at the at the Navy
base.
Yeah, the Navy base. And so some people were saying, oh, this guy had like a top security clearance, so it might be some kind of cover up. Some people are like, no, he's just crazy.
Yeah.
And this is how not saying that he wasn't crazy or he was that he was some kind of CIA agent. That's that aside, we'll say that there's always stuff going on in government where what things appear to be may not always be the case.
Exactly.
And so this is an example of that. And I'm glad they put this in here because this, I think, makes it true to life.
I mean, yeah, it does. For most people, I mean, they really kind of follow what goes on, even with the government on day to day. I mean, somebody had to pick sides. Somebody had to be the bigger party. Like, okay, let's blame somebody for the things that has happened, and let's be the savior because of somebody made a wrong decision, somebody made a bad decision. And I just think what they're doing right now, as the president, quote unquote, they're trying to basically make things right because they was wrong. But you also have to look at it in the beginning where the whole thing was that we want to set the nuclear power, take the power from China, and basically take the nukes from China was the whole like typical thing that they wanted to do, but instead they took the power from the whole entire world. And I guess part of that bringing the power back is okay, cool. Now we have two major threats.
China. It was actually like Afghanistan.
Okay, Afghanistan. Yeah. But now it's like okay, we also have two major threats within the U.S. Philadelphia and Atlanta.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see why they did what they did.
Yeah.
And to figure out what is the purpose, because we also see, the president was at Guantanamo Bay.
Yes.
Hiding out. They come back. He's moving into the White House. And then we see he has prisoners in
the White House
that he's putting into the White House.
But I think that's just kind of more of a precaution because overall.
But who are these prisoners?
It's just probably just random people that just kind of.
No, it's not random.
I don't know.
I
just think it's just probably people who probably try to attack the White House, and they kind of just put them in prison right now because they're building the prison. It's not like they're already there because they was putting a lot of cells up as they knew that the president was coming back. So it's kind of interesting to see what happened
and why do you need prison cells in the White House? Very interesting. So we'll see what happens with Jason and Major Neville as they're in Savannah, Georgia. So
the White House officials.
And the White House officials. So next we have Miles, and we see that he is in Willoughby, Texas, with Rachel and Aaron.
Yes.
And they're at, they came there 6 months ago because that's where Rachel's father is, Dr. Gene Porter, who was played by Stephen Collins from Seventh Heaven fame. Yes. I used to love that show, by the way.
Okay.
He played the Pops there. Now he's the Pops again on this show. But we see that he's a doctor in Willoughby, and we see that the reason why they came back here, obviously, was because that's where Rachel's father was. But she was also not doing too great. She's having a kind of a nervous breakdown, I guess. I mean, because that's a lot to put on your shoulders.
It's more of a psychological breakdown. Like, cause she's really not real responsive to anything. And I think what the biggest issue that happened is that she blames herself for pretty much everything that has happened because they created this system. They created everything for the government. And because they was part of, with the lights being out, a lot of people died from it.
Right.
A lot of split between the nations happened. Her son died. Randall died. The nuclear weapons went off. And I think the nuclear weapon was the one that actually kind of broke her because now she's like, man, I've killed millions of people now because of what me and my husband created.
Right.
So,
and was it worth it? The lights were only on for 4 minutes, and now there's millions of people that are dead. So, that's a lot of weight when you think about that. That's why she is going through this psychological breakdown because she's responsible. She feels responsible, and I think she should feel responsible.
I mean, she should because again, like she was the main one pushing for the lights to go on, and it's like, okay, well, no, you don't know what's really going to happen or what repercussions that's going to happen with the lights going on. And as you can see, the repercussion is that a lot of people got killed.
Right.
And so you got to look at, I have this burden on my shoulder.
Right. And of course she's just kind of checked out of life, and so Miles, I think, does the right thing, and they go back to her father because they feel like he's the only one that can help her.
Yeah.
And we see about 2 months later, she's starting to come back around a little bit, but Charlie decides to leave.
Yes.
And Rachel even knows. She says that she understands why Charlie had to leave. She could have stopped her, but she didn't. She realized that Charlie was angry, Nora died, and if you remember last season, they had a choice to either go back to the infirmary and get some stuff to help Nora, or to go to level 12 because they only had one check-in key.
Yeah.
So of course, Rachel's like, we got to go to level 12.
Exactly.
Even Nora says go to level 12, and so that's Charlie feels again that her mother is responsible for someone's death.
She's responsible for a lot.
She is. And Charlie's just angry with the world, so she has to go on her own. And I was surprised that Miles just let her go freely.
Again, I just think it's just one of those things where Miles, he's tired of fighting against Charlie because Charlie's going to do the things that she wants to do anyway. But he has more loyalty to Rachel, and because of the history that they have and how long they've known each other. And right now, Rachel's better with him being there versus like him going with Charlie. And
that's what Charlie says. That's why she says she feels comfortable leaving because she said, my mom has you. You're good.
Exactly.
And so then we also see that Miles burns somebody in a shack. He comes out with blood on his face. Who do you think he's killing?
I don't know. It's kind of random because again, he kind of comes out the shack, bloody. Then it's like, okay, well, he burns the shack, and nobody says anything else about it.
Well, nobody knows, I don't think. I don't think they knew that what had happened. Obviously, somebody would have said something if they knew.
Yeah.
But that's to be determined to see who Miles has in this shack, who he killed, and the circumstances around that. So then we also see that there's a little love story. Remember all last season, we're like, what is going on between Miles and Rachel?
I told you they had a fling.
So, and even her father says that. He says, as he's fixing the wound on Miles' hand, he says to him that, I could see that the day she got married to Ben, the way she looked at you, because that's the same way she looked at all the little, the bad boys that she dated before Ben.
Yeah.
And he's just like, it's better that you're not with her. It's better off that you guys aren't together. And he takes that to heart. And he goes and he's going to leave.
I mean, but you got to kind of look at the reason why he wants to leave, because his brother died because of him, because of the whole separation, how they kind of made the Monroe Federation,
right,
and everything, how they came after his brother, so he died because of him. But also you have to look at, like, they've been doing this back and forth for quite some time.
Right.
So it's like, do I stay or do I go, even though I know she needs me here, but other people know that she has the same love for me.
Right.
So when her father says it, he's just kind of like,
And I'm saying, like, if her dad knew that, how did Ben not know? Or maybe Ben did know. Who knows?
A lot of times
that his brother and his wife had something going on.
But again, he probably was just too engulfed in his job that he didn't notice.
Yeah, or he might have noticed, but he, maybe he was just like,
they're just friendly.
I still love you, so we're good.
They're just friendly.
Yeah, they're just friendly.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, we'll see. And I thought it was funny how Dr. Gene Porter also said, like, he started naming the type of guys that Rachel dated.
Yeah.
And he's like, my favorite was the ninja. Like,
the stars and everything. I'm like, man, Rachel was really about the weirdest type people.
Right. But I think it fits her personality now that we see, like, she kind of, like.
She's kind of, she's just antisocial.
She's different. She's not antisocial. She's been through a lot. She's
probably one of those kids, because he was like, yeah, she used to have, like, the black nails and everything. She's probably one of those kids who really didn't have a lot of friends because she was just different.
I don't know.
And that's why she had the weird boyfriends, kind of.
Kind of. Well, we see that the love is continuing. But in talking about love, I love Adventures of Serial Buddies, and you should too. Adventures of Serial Buddies is on iTunes. It's also on serialbuddies.com. You should definitely check out this movie. It's hilarious. And it's produced by Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, who are also the producers and the creators of AfterBuzz TV. So if you get the movie, you help us here at AfterBuzz TV. We can continue to do this programming. We can continue to keep the lights on. And guess what? Adventures of Serial Buddies is now on DVD. You can get it anywhere from Target to 7-Eleven. I mean, 7-Eleven, really? That means you definitely can get this movie. And you can also get it on Netflix and many other outlets. So make sure you check that out and go to serialbuddies.com for more information.
Yeah.
So as we're talking about love, Aaron has a girlfriend. Woo!
Hey.
I'm so excited for him. Woo! Aaron, played by Zach Orth, is also, he's slimmer. Did you notice that?
A little bit.
I don't know if they just shaved his beard down some or if he really did lose weight.
No,
but
he lost a little weight.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah.
He looks good. We see that in the beginning that he's not able to, he tries to stop the countdown for the atomic bombs blowing up, but he can't do it. And we see that he also is in Willoughby, Texas, and that he has a girlfriend she seems very loving.
You know what? It's actually kind of good to see Aaron with the woman.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying because he went through that hard breakup with his wife for New Year's when they actually lost the power. It was, okay, well, and then when he finally sees her again, it's like, oh, I want to be with you, but I can't be with you. So now he's kind of have someone who's loving and caring and basically just comfort him. But at the same time, he's so distanced from her because he's almost like Rachel. Because I've been through a lot, I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, and I can't even share with you the amount of stuff that if you knew what I was responsible for, you probably would hate my guts. And that's what happened.
And I even think so. She probably just doesn't. She won't even understand. So I think that's probably why he doesn't tell her because, you know, he talks to her and he tells her he's sitting deep in thought and she's just like, why don't you tell me what's going on? And he said, we live in a world where a fourth grader in my class, he's a teacher now, fourth grader in my class has polio, which is crazy because think about it, you know, in a modern world like today, we get all types of vaccinations. You can't do that really. It's really hard to do when you don't have electricity. So, you know, different diseases like that are just commonplace. So, of course, him thinking about it, like the lights went out again and they probably will never come back on. For which reason that we haven't been told yet, but I don't know if the lights will come back on. And she seems to be very hopeful and says, no, it came on for 4 minutes. They'll come back on again.
But you also got to look at his point of view in the whole situation. All they know is that the lights came on for 4 minutes and that was it. And out of those 4 minutes, okay, what happened those 4 minutes? Everybody was shocked. But in his 4 minutes, he knew that I was responsible for nuclear weapons being released amongst the U.S. and other nations. So I'm really responsible for the lights coming on or off right now. Right now, I chose for them to be off, and I'm not gonna allow the lights the power to come back on because I've seen what happened.
No, but I don't know if they turned the power off. We don't know yet. We don't know if they left the power on and the nukes, you know, blew everything up, and then it turned off. Because the way he's saying it is that they don't know what happened. They don't know why the lights went off. He doesn't say it. We didn't turn the lights back on.
My opinion, I just kind of took more so that, you know, they wasn't able to shut off the nuclear weapon, but at the same time they're still able to shut off the power. I mean, it's interesting to see, but I think that.
Oh, well, okay, but I thought he said that. No, he did say that, Larice. He did say that they didn't know, because that's the whole conversation that he has with Rachel is that he doesn't know what's going on. It's not because they turned the power off. It's because the power just didn't come back on. They don't know why. So I guess we'll have to see what happens in the aftermath of the bombs going off and what that did in the tower, the watchtower.
I mean, I guess we can kind of ask our fans on AfterBuzz fan on iTunes. Make sure you go to iTunes and rate us. Let us know how we're doing. If you have any question, the big question now is that if anybody know or have any speculation as to why the power hasn't turned back on and why nobody knows if the power is going to come back on, please go to iTunes and leave us a comment, rate us. You can get on all mobile devices right now from your iPhones, Androids, iPad, laptop. Just go there and help us support us. Please rate us 5 stars so we can actually continue to build this revolution for season 2. Thank you all our fans on iTunes.
Thank you. So yes, we see that Aaron has definitely something's going on with Aaron. He's seeing weird things. He sees the fireflies.
It's kind of weird though because he just got finished playing with the pendant and he goes outside to get like firewood and he see like one firefly on his wrist.
Yes. And
then all of a sudden he just see like millions of fireflies where the sky kind of lights up green. I thought he was dreaming at first.
Right. I did too. I didn't know if it was just like something he's seeing, and I think that's the way that Rachel takes it when he talks to her.
Yeah.
But he says that he notices that it happened with the cicadas. It happened with. He just notices a pattern that continues to go on of weird stuff, and he can't explain it. And Rachel just tries to dismiss it, and she's still so caught up in the fact that she was responsible for people dying that she just can't even really hear what he's saying. She just can't even register that in her head. So.
And I think his factor is that he wants to try to basically create a solution to what's happening. Where Rachel's just like, leave it alone. It no longer exists. Let's just move on with our regular life and be the whole pilgrimage and just kind of live off the land. And this is it.
Right. And So of course, he's being the cerebral person that he is. Aaron
Yes.
continues to just kind of check that out to figure out what's going on with everything. So then we have Miles, who decides to come back after leaving Rachel because he realizes it's not a good thing. But it's because of the War Clan.
Yes, I mean, you got to kind of look at it like Mal is a protector. He's a leader.
Oh, hold on. We should call him Stu, which is
Yeah,
which is his
new
name. His new
Stu.
name, Stu.
Stu. Everybody has new names now, but
I mean, for good reason. Because, I mean, if you're the leader of the Monroe militia, it used to be Miles Matheson as well. So,
Yes.
I mean, so I can understand why they need to change their names.
But you also got to look at him like he's a leader. He's a fighter, and his thing is that he wants to protect Rachel. Hands down, if everybody else die, as long as Rachel lives, that's his biggest factor because he has love for Rachel. And I think that's
Yeah.
a reason why he kind of comes back to warn the town, like, hey, you know what? You have these war people out here. They will take over the city and kill all the men and take the women for what basically make it like New Vegas, but not
Right.
not like willingly. But at the same time, he comes back for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But then the sheriff don't take him serious, and then he started the question like, "Why do you think this? Who are you?" But
Right. But we also see that, I guess at this time we see that Rachel and Miles have a conversation about. Miles tells her, "Let's just go. Let's leave. We don't need to be here. It's gonna get bad. You
Yeah.
know, these people have." What is it, like check marks of how many people they've killed?
Exactly.
This is kind of like Mad Max.
It is.
Like these are the people that you should be scared of, and we see the contrast. They have dark clothing, leather, really dirty, and the people in Willoughby are like bright, colorful, cheery, happy.
I think it's more of
townspeople.
the modern day Monroe Republic because again, what do? They kill everybody who was against them. So, but now it's that they're killing for survival, and I think Monroe was just killing for just basic power.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what this War Clan is about, but obviously, Rachel does something very good, I think, in her apology to when she talks to Miles, and she apologizes for Nora and how she basically said she signed Nora's death warrant by saying no, we have to go to the level 12 instead of going to the infirmary to help her.
Yeah.
So I think it was appropriate that she did that, and I think especially for them to move on to the next phase, which is their own little love story.
I just think overall, like her apologizing, it was just like, why? You did.
No, but I think she needed to.
But she did what she wanted to do because she wanted to do it. She didn't really care too much about Nora at all. And
No,
the fact
I
that
think
she
she
knew
did
that
care about
Nora had a fling, like Miles and Nora had a thing. So she didn't really care. She's like, I don't want her. Just get out the way.
Do you really believe that? You
Yes.
really believe
It was jealousy.
that
Sorry, it was.
There couldn't have been.
Jealousy.
No, I don't think she was
Okay,
jealous. I mean, there could have been a hint of it, but I really do think that, because her whole mission was all about the fact that, she had to turn the lights on because Danny would have died in vain. So I think she did put Danny above Nora.
Everyone else.
I mean, but that's her son. I mean, can you blame her?
I mean, you can't do nothing about anybody that's dead. No matter
Okay,
how.
but I guess she also knew that there's probably not a chance we can save Nora. I mean, maybe they could have. They could have at least tried. I'm with Charlie on that. Charlie did tell her mom, we could at least try, and
Exactly.
once, if
She's
that doesn't
selfish.
work. Okay.
Selfish.
Okay, I get it. And she realizes that, and so she apologizes because she realizes it was wrong.
It was.
Okay. All right, then. So then, of course, Miles tells the sheriff, Mason, about, this is you guys should be scared. This is a war clan who they pride themselves on killing people.
Yeah.
And so this is what's going to happen. They're going to come from, it looks like they're from the Plains Nation. Of course, Sheriff Mason is like, there's no way. They don't come this far south.
Yes.
Now they are, and they're circling like great whites.
Yeah. I mean,
Miles
but you got to
says.
kind of look at it. It's just a survival of the fittest type situation. They're going to take what they want. And if you don't have the manpower to defend yourself, then you're the prey. So.
Right. So we see that as they are trying to, as they're going through this situation, the War Clan actually does return with a lot of men, and they come to the city.
Yes.
And the first person they kill
It's Aaron.
is Aaron. But I'm so proud of Aaron. Let me tell you why. Because he is getting the house ready. He is really like the manly man that we have been waiting for all of last season, and we finally saw glimpses of it at the end. But now he's a protector. He tells his girlfriend, like, go get in the back. I got this. I'm going to stay awake. You go to sleep. I'm going to take care of this. Keep us safe. And he does such a good job. I'll give that to him.
He gave up. He gave up.
He didn't give up this time. Don't say that about
Gave
him.
up.
He did it. He fought this. I was so proud of him because when that man came with that knife and just looked like he was gonna.
He gave up then. He was like, oh.
No, when he got okay, but before then, you know, Aaron had he took like the door like something off of the wall.
Yeah.
And like fought him.
He did.
He put up a really good fight. This was, I'll say, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. He lost this one, but he went out swinging. He went out swinging.
I mean,
And
definitely a more courageous Aaron than from first season.
And I could not believe that Aaron died.
That was a nasty cut.
It was. First episode, though, of the season, Aaron dies.
I was, it was very interesting. I'm like, oh no. But it was, how can he die where he's the guy who kind of created the program?
I know. But, you know, but also when Danny died, I didn't think Danny was going to die.
But Danny had no purpose.
He's a brother.
He was just a kid. He could not turn the power on. He has no technological knowledge.
We didn't know any of this
at all.
back then.
But I'm just saying, it's just like Aaron knows everything. He wrote the program. He turned the power back on. He has a purpose. He has a pendant. He sees fireflies. So you have to kind of look at
anyone who sees fireflies must live, huh?
Yes, they have a purpose. Seriously.
Did you think he was gonna come back to life?
Yes, in my mind, I just felt like because everything was just so different about him. The whole episode, again, his demeanor, him seeing things, him kind of justifying things that has happened, him wanting to still again want to know answers about why things happen, what's going to happen. Like he still plays an important role in this whole entire season. He's not gonna die.
Right.
He see fireflies. I'm telling you, he's not gonna die.
And then so of course we see that he comes back to life.
Yes.
At the very last second. But his wife sees the fireflies too. I mean, his girlfriend, I'm sorry. She sees the fireflies.
I think it's more so because he has the pendant. I think it literally has something to do with the pendant because they might be attracted to the pendant and because it's still like a power source. And I wonder if he matched the pendant, would it actually turn the power back on significantly in that area?
Well, I don't think it works anymore. I mean, he didn't touch it, but...
I don't know. That's a
maybe
question.
Maybe he's afraid if he does touch it, what will happen? Because every time they turn the power on, something bad happens. The choppers from last season, and then that turned into them shooting up everybody. Then that
is true.
So yeah, every time he turns the power on, something bad happens. But I don't know. Do you think that the fireflies had anything to do with him coming back to life?
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's a byproduct of something.
I think that
so fireflies are magical, and
but you have to also look at last season, the cancer, the lady who Rachel's friend.
Oh, who the cancer was kept at bay because of the
nanites.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I think because they turned the power back on, the nanites are released, and it might actually be like because he have the pendant, it might save his life. I mean, it's kind of weird though, but I think. He has a great purpose.
He does have a great purpose. Obviously, he came back.
Exactly.
To life.
I think it has something to do with the pendant. It has something to do with the fireflies. And it has something to do with like him turning the power back on.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be a great season.
I'm really excited about this. I will say that. And some of the stuff that happens for the next episode. Let's talk about predictions.
Let's talk about. Oh, they got captured.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Well, before we talk about predictions, we do have to talk about that part. The fact that Miles and Mason, Sheriff Mason, got captured by the War Clan.
I like how Sheriff Mason came out with his little gun out there and started shooting people.
Why are there no more guns anywhere? Because Miles is back to using a sword.
Yeah.
He needs a gun.
Yeah.
But yes, I will say Sheriff Mason is a good shot.
Yeah, he was. He kind of came out just.
But he didn't have that many bullets for all those guys from the clan.
But you would think though, like he would not came out by himself because it was other guys that was there who had guns, and he just came out by himself, and it was like, oh, let me just be a hero.
Yes.
Then they get captured.
Then they get captured by this War Clan, and we see them looking very Mad Max-ish, 2000 and whatever time frame. They've got their black leather on. It's just dark. You see people hanging. They've hung people. They've lynched people. I mean, it's really creepy.
It's kind of gruesome.
And I feel even more scared because when you see their leader, whose name is Titus Andover,
Yeah.
Stereo Titus. Titus is like a happy, cheery, like it reminds me of a cult almost.
It kind of reminds me of what Sebastian was when the Monroe Republic first started.
I don't know, because these people seem a little more brutal and gruesome.
That's true too. I mean, but you got to kind of look at like how long the power's been off and what they've been doing to survive and what has happened to them. And because they knew about the nuclear weapons, a lot has happened. So it's more of like survival of the fittest. Versus like when Monroe first started, it's like, oh, let's kind of create.
Are you talking about this war clan knows about
Yes.
the? How do they know about the?
I'm pretty sure they know something.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in the fact of like who did what.
No, not who
Okay.
did it, but just because something like that has happened. But you also have to look at like when Monroe first started, they just wanted to kind of start a union.
Right.
And just kind of get people on board about, hey, let's be part of the Monroe Republic. But this clan is like, hey, we're here to survive of the fittest.
No, but this clan is not. The thing about the Monroe Republic is that they're very organized. They're very military. Yes. They're very strategic. I think this group, they're just kind of sordid. They're kind of a little lost,
animals.
crazy, right? Very animalistic, and I just feel like. Titus Andover is a cult leader. Like, he's just happy, and he's like, can I get you sweet tea? That's creepy when everybody else around him is completely the opposite.
Yeah.
So I'm scared of them, and I think rightly so. So let's get into predictions now.
Now, let's do the predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so we see that this clan is they've got Miles and the sheriff, and it's looking like they're trying to do some. He tortures them, but he's like, I'm not ready for you to die yet. So they look creepy. What do you think is gonna happen with that?
I think more so that with that they gonna want him to join forces with them, and I think Miles is gonna say no, and Miles going to escape for whatever the reason.
Because he always escapes.
Yeah, Sheriff Mason's gonna die. And, it's going to be one of those type things where Miles escapes, Sheriff Mason dies, and then it's going to be that whole feud between the Miles versus the War Clan.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're definitely, on for survival and power. That's really what they want. And they're going to do it by any means necessary. Very creepy and scary.
Yep.
And then we see that Tracy Spiridakos, also known as Charlie, has come face to face with Jimmy King.
The new Jimmy King.
The new Sebastian Monroe. And so, she followed him when he got taken. I'm assuming she followed him once he got taken.
She moved fast.
She does. Charlie doesn't play.
They was in horse and carriage.
Charlie doesn't play.
She moves fast.
Right. So we'll see what happens with them. What do you think? Do you think she's going to kill Sebastian, or do you think she's going to try to help him out?
I think she's gonna try to help him out. Again, it's like everybody, they need each other now.
Right.
I think everybody from first season is gonna be against all the new people.
Right. And also, what do you think is gonna happen with Aaron and all these crazy sightings? We see a bunch of dead rats.
I don't know. That's kind of hard to say. I mean, again, I think Aaron's just that guy where he has. I wouldn't say superpower, but he came back from the dead.
Resurrection power.
But at the same time, I think it still has something to do with the Pendants and the Fireflies and stuff like that.
Okay. This will be
I think his girlfriend's going to freak out.
Yeah, they're not going to be together too long. Sorry, Aaron. You're going to have to get a new one. Something's not right. So, yes, we cannot wait until next next episode, I should say.
Yes.
And where can we find you, Larice?
You can find me at True Peoples. Also check out TruePeoplesMedia.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
And you can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Meg Scoop, like scoop of ice cream. Until next week, Revolution fans.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.